All right, well, we're gonna go into every detail of what we're doing, why we're doing it, all that sort of stuff, because I had to skip so much when I made this video, because 30 minutes is impossible. What I skipped here is a couple things. So you can see here on the right, my cabinet is increasing control in my capital. And my second one is changing the culture. And funny enough, I'm actually changing the culture away from my own culture because I have a really big percentage of Brandenburgish culture, and it's not my main culture. So essentially, I need to push my culture even further towards this other culture so they can culture swap. So that's kind of what we're doing here behind the scenes. And if you have high control, then you are able to convert culture faster. Essentially, if you have low control, there's like a debuff. So if you have 50% control, then you're 50% less effective at changing your culture. And so doing it in my capital region, though, this will eventually move up to 100, and I'll be able, and I won't get any debuff. And for my rival, yes, I'm just setting Wolgas as a rival. There's not really a particular reason why. Just I have to reach my quota. And for Denmark, I ally him because he'll ally to Wolgast, and it seems though as if I ally Wolgast, then he just won't help him in the war. Now, I explained this in the video. Pretty much, there's not much more to explain here except why markets are so good and what you're doing here. You'll see here that I am hovering over Market Village, and the big thing that you really want here is trade capacity, which is, you can see this modifier here, and it's just gonna, essentially, I mean, basically it does what it sounds like. The more you have, the more you can trade. Right now, I can't trade anything, like literally. So you have to have trade capacity to actually engage in trades. So a market gives you a full 1 trade capacity. So a marketplace is 4 times valuable than market villages, but you can only build them in cities. And as Brandenburg, we only start with 1. So, but funny enough, we can actually build 6 marketplaces in the same province. Like we can build 6 marketplaces in Berlin. So cost-wise, it's actually kind of probably more effective that I would have done that instead. But I kind of want the money like out front. That's why I build villages. But it would make sense maybe if I just queued up 6 of these instead. You'll see that I need 250 population here. And this is, I think this is nobles, if I'm not mistaken. And you'll see in the next menu that there's only 200. So if I did build, like if I queued a bunch of these buildings up, they won't be effective for a while. But what happens is that the working class will get promoted to whatever you're lacking, but it takes time. And there's like modifiers that change this. I forget what the modifier is called, but there's actually modifiers that influence how fast this happens. So here's just a little look at the town. You can see a negative problem with a town is that for one, you're going to integrate slower and you have worse food production. So this can be a huge issue for starvation. So you got to be really careful. But as a side effect, you get max control, which is actually like, control is one of the most important things in the game. And you really can't get very good control outside your capital early on. So think of it like in EU4 terms, like the best you can get outside of your capital region is like 20%. Or it's like, I guess in EU4 would be 80% autonomy. So it's really not like insanely valuable to have land outside of your capital. I would say almost the meta is just building markets early. Like it is the most effective building to build pretty much for every nation. It probably needs a nerf. And if you build market villages, you're using the peasants, and there's usually like a ton of these. So it's kind of convenient in that way. You don't have to like wait for them to be integrated as nobility or something like that, right? I talked about this event, but this event is really cursed because you essentially get 20% max control, which I hover over it and show that. So your max control goes down, your monthly control, and your monthly legitimate. So it's like a terrible buff. You have to get rid of your ruler via event. And the first time, I think I didn't read the event, and I was just cooked for the entire campaign. Like it was like 1450, and I still had this control debuff. It was pretty miserable. But yeah, so if you don't read events, yeah, it could be bad. But I actually had like other ways of dealing with this too. I tried lowering my legitimacy to 0, and then like let rebels take over my country, and that worked. It's kind of a weird way to do it, but there are other ways to kind of get around it. But the one frustrating thing about the event is that it's a mean time to happen. So sometimes you'll get rid of this debuff super early, and in other campaigns, it'll take 20 years, 40 years. So it's kind of just, it can be a frustrating thing to deal with because it's really, really impactful, and it's going to be RNG. So I'm trying to improve with Bohemia because he's just a strong ally. Bohemia is basically Austria of EU4. One thing to note, and one thing I like, is you don't have to worry about like unlawful territory in this game. So it's never, the HRE seems to not like matter as much. Like I don't think you get more AE. It's not the HRE of EU4. In other words, it doesn't really feel like it does much. They probably need to adjust it a bit. Now, I mentioned this, you get a claim to start the game. This is kind of another weird thing I didn't talk about, but this CB is insane because this CB makes it so it costs negative 25% to take land. A normal CB costs 100% more, to give you some context. So there's 125% difference in this CB versus a superiority or no CB. So you have to call parliament because in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that war looks like it was too hard. So I guess I need to find an easier war. And again, I'm just picking the highest percent here. And I also see that while the issue is being passed, if you notice here, there's actually like active buffs you get while the issue is being debated. So I'm like, okay, 2 Diplo Rep could be good if I want to be the Emperor, is what I'm thinking. And I really only have the choice between these two because I want the higher percentage, because this percentage is, you'll see like I can use that percentage. So you can see here I can immediately press these buttons, right? Because I already have 66%. Now I can pass other things, and sometimes they're not bad. Like I could see that one had increased opinion, and that one's like chill. Like if you kind of look here, I'll probably see a better screen of it later, but there's things you can pass like an EU4, but sometimes they're really cursed. Like some of them will be like lose 10% progress towards this institution is a very common one. And it's like, I don't want to do that. So sometimes the options are cursed and it's just like, I'm not doing that. It's not worth it. So I prepare for war here. And I also, funny enough, I'm using the menu here because the game currently will break if you use this, and it will just sometimes give you a claim on the wrong person. And that sucks because the game does not load fast. I know it's a side point, it doesn't matter, but okay. So we declare war, raise all levies. We start with a really low amount of levies because we don't really have much control and our culture is really bad. I'm able to get my levies out before they can even recruit. And I don't know why, but your subject starts with more guys than you. And I'm pretty sure when you zoom in, he's got closer to like 3,000. So your subject's better than you, like literally. So again, we're just piecing out. I think we have to separate piece because we can't take it all in one go with the main war target. I want to say that you need a diplomat here, like you need one available, but it doesn't actually use one. I might be wrong about that. Maybe like the month take is different, but I almost want to say that's the case. But it seems to be the case. It's almost like you need a diplomat, but if you don't use it, so it's kind of weird. But maybe I'm misremembering that. Anyhow, I explained this in the video, but my goals are just consolidating my original region because I'm using my cabinet to increase control. And you have to remember in this game, early game, land is only valuable that's around your capital. Like really early game. So it's like, these are the really important provinces. Like getting anything else is just kind of like, yeah, that's cool. I can paint the map. But other than that, it's not very useful. Also, I hate this about levies. When you hit raise all, like what are we doing over here with 3 and 4 guys? These guys are just primed for the war score. It's a superiority war. So these guys are just like primed to give free war score away. To me, it's like, I wish the raise all wouldn't do that because, you know, it's like, I don't want those. Also, I hate this. Notice how I have 1973 guys. If you look here, this rounds down to 1K. That's not really 1,000 guys, but like whenever you're zoomed in at a normal level, it looks like 1K guys, but in reality, it's basically 2,000 guys. I know I'm being nitpicky, but that's the point of this video is that I can be, right? All right, so one thing that's definitely overpowered, I think, and it shouldn't be allowed, and I'm pretty sure it's like this in CK3, it takes time to raise levies, but you can go to war with your levies raised. So essentially, like you can just, like these guys, they never got to play the video game because they couldn't raise their levies in time. It's a little unfair for them, right? It's like, my levies are already raised. It takes like a month to raise levies. I think they should adjust this. I'm not saying that's like super game breaking or something, but like, you know, like sometimes the AI just can't raise levies in time because you're able to declare war with your levies raised. So I don't know if that's something they want to keep. Oh, by the way, you can recruit a general like anywhere. Like, you know, I'm like in the middle of a siege or something, right? And it's like, sure thing. Like there's no restrictions like that in the game. And they, you know, of course, you know, it's like the classic, like teleporting generals or something. So yeah, we just throw in a general like middle of a siege. But I thought my ally would help me in this battle. And I don't know why he doesn't. Oftentimes though, the AI will attach to you and it's like by default selected. So I thought the AI was attached to me here. Now the question is like, why do I lose this battle? I don't really know, to be honest with you guys. It looks like I have more morale. I started with more men. Why is this number different than this number? I don't really know. Maybe it's just like updating differently. Maybe I'm just looking at one army regiment. They're not consolidated together. It's something probably is going on, right? But we're definitely getting cooked here, and it's kind of hard to know why. It looks like we have no center. Maybe I needed to like rebalance. I don't know. But I'm getting pretty cooked, and my ally is not helping me. And he's right there, and I'm like, why isn't my ally helping me? I feel like in EU4, my ally would help me there, generally speaking, because I'm right next to him. But maybe in this game, they are less likely to want to leave sieges. And, you know, I guess that is what it is. I'm sure there's reasons. Maybe I attacked into a terrain. Like there's, you know, I'm sure once we play with the game more and we get a better understanding, I'll know why. I'm just like, okay, that is what it is, right? Now, I'm going to abuse the levy system because the AI does it anyways. And I'm like, okay, I'll do what the AI does. I'll just abandon all my guys and recruit brand new guys. I hate this, by the way. Think of it playing EU4, but you can like never wipe out the enemy army. They can just keep recruiting a full army every single time. And what's funny, though, is that you actually can't raise your levies like this until you disband them. I'm pretty sure I did it off screen, but you have to disband these guys. So funny enough, if you leave like a stack of 50 levies alive, that is your best option because they can't re-recruit their levies if you leave them with like 50. I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is, right? I'm just kind of doing a classic thing here where I'm like, okay, I'll just siege his land out and avoid fighting because that battle went pretty poorly. Let's just kind of like split up and siege, and that's fine. But then I realized that I can't end the war. So I'm just looking here. I'm like, okay, I just want some money, and I want to finish this war because my plan more or less worked. I went in there. I just sieged a bunch of his stuff. I even avoided the fort because I was like, yeah, I'm not going to siege the fort. Forts are ridiculous in this game, and they're kind of broken in this iteration of the build because they're so cheap to build forts that the AI will just have an unreasonable amount of forts. So I just want to take the provinces here. And this never has been a factor, but I guess that if they refused it, they would lose 10 stability. This is probably more of a factor for multiplayer, but it seems like such a low amount of stability when you can have 200 stability. So you could refuse a peace offer like close to 20 times, I guess. Of like, that seems ridiculous, but I mean, who am I to judge? Again, it also seems like you need a diplomat, but you don't actually use a diplomat. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. So we're kind of just on that same mindset, like, okay, well, I want to get my provinces in my area. So I'm looking at this war, but I realize that it's kind of hard. So I'm like, okay, I can't really do that. And then I'm looking at the antagonism map mode. Antagonism on paper sounds really cool. So for example, somebody that doesn't know you and you're a completely different type of, like, you're different religion, they never had any interactions with you, will have like a bit of base antagonism. Like they're kind of skeptical of you already, right? Because they don't know you, which I really like. So you'll get coalition faster by people that are like unfamiliar to you, right? Because they're kind of like already skeptical of you. So I really like this thematically. But if we're on the topic of antagonism, I think antagonism is way too fast to go down. Like it feels like it goes down faster than AE. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Like I took land that was like non-co-belligerated. You could, if you guys saw that, and it just feels like anytime I look, I'm really not that aggressive. I talked about this briefly in the video. I think the problem with this is that it's going to be just meta to go admin because you get admin efficiency, and admin efficiency like directly impacts your cabinet as far as some other things too. But I think that it's such a powerful modifier that it's kind of like, well, can you really not do that? I will say Diplo has province war score cost, and it also gives you the ability to get just causes, which is just basically a straight port from EU4. If you know what just causes is, it's like 20 AE impact, but in this case, it's 20 antagonism impact, and I'm pretty sure you have to have Diplo focus to get it. And I think there's going to be like some admin meantime to happen events. Like there's pulse events for every different type. I haven't like gone to detail. I don't know all the pulse events, but there is pulse events that are attributed to picking each different type of focus. And I will talk about Deus Volt, and I'm not a fan of what they did to Deus Volt because Deus Volt cost plus 900% to take land. So good luck taking anything ever. I don't know why they did this. I feel like maybe they want you to use Deus Volt to force religion on people, and they don't really like you being able to take land with it. I don't know. I feel like it's an over nerf if you ask me. Yes, Deus Volt is insanely powerful in EU4, but to make it unusable in EU5, like I guess if you really want to switch people's religion, cool, but I was kind of let down by that. I was like, really? 900%? 900? Like, come on. Like, did you really need to nerf it that hard? Even though, like, Deus Volt's not very useful, like, the admin efficiency. I also think there's, like, other things, like, I don't hover over it, or maybe I do, but, you know, like, this is really good, too. I'm hovering over it now. It's tolerance. I wish when I paused it, I, like, went over all of them, but max literacy means that you literally research faster. Like, these things are just so good in admin. Yeah, you can kind of see, though. So, basically, I mentioned the video, but it just allows you to research these things. So, you're locked in. There's no take backsies, right? You are locked in forever. Also, you see distance cost to capital. This is directly control, and control is super important. So that's why I think currently that no matter who you play, admin will be your choice. I don't want this to be the case. I want them to change this because there needs to be times when you feel like military focus is the right answer, or you feel like Diplo is the right answer. They need to make sure that they're careful not to give such powerful modifiers to one that you feel like you have to take it all the time. I want to clarify. I'm not saying that I for sure know that is the way. I'm saying that I've heard other creators say that, and I feel like that myself, but I'm not necessarily right, if that makes sense. I don't know everything. I'm still new to this, but to me, it seemed like the other creators and myself came to this conclusion that the admin focus is a bit too strong, that you just want to take it every time. So non-integrated provinces are interesting. I've learned that this is something that you just ignore. It doesn't really matter. When I first played, I would just use my court to integrate provinces. And this gets impossible because basically you will never keep up with the provinces that you need to integrate because you first need to change the culture. And I didn't realize this at first, but basically it's more effective to first change the culture of a province before you integrate it. But there's no overextension in the game. As an EU4 player, you think this is important, but then you kind of realize it's not. That's kind of the simplest way I could say. So this is the institution that is the most important, probably. This will be like, if you're playing multiplayer, this is going to be rushed every single time. I would imagine. Because this is what lets you have manpower, lets you have a standing army. So it looks like we're just building more marketplaces, queuing them up. Same thing, early game, it just seems like the meta, at least like among people who played it, is just like, you just build marketplaces. It probably needs to be nerfed because it's kind of just like really black and white, I guess. Like it's like, this is what you should build and nothing else early game. In my opinion, and in others' opinions. Like I don't know everything, but that seems to be what the consensus was. Professed trust is kind of an interesting mechanic. So you're gonna get 10 trust with that nation, but it's gonna hurt your overall Diplo rep for the over 5 years. So it's kind of like you get an immediate ward, but it tanks your Diplo rep. So it's an interesting one. You also generate trust naturally. So it's definitely interesting that you can do. It'll help though in this scenario when I'm like, okay, I'm not quite where I need to eat. I need a little more relations to get that alliance with Bohemia, and it's a really strong alliance. So I want to tank my Diplo rep in the short term to make that work. You can see I randomly formed a union there. And as Brandenburg, you will like randomly form a union with Bavaria, like more than not, like probably 8 of 10 times, because he starts as the emperor and he's really old and he like doesn't have an heir or something. I don't really know why it is, but it seems like it's pretty likely. So here's the big event that is super, super important. Now, don't get baited by the historical option or your nation's cooked. This is the one that affects your max control for Brandenburg. I wish I hovered over it to show you guys, but essentially the first option is like beg you go to the emperor and tell him that your dynasty is legit and all those haters out there, they're wrong. But you don't want that. You do not want that because then you keep the debuff. Let's just say maybe that you didn't read things and that you may have clicked the top option. Of course, I would never do that. I'm talking like about someone else that might do that. Well, if you did that, you might end up in 1450 and you haven't got rid of the debuff. And it's not ideal. So make sure you read at least that event. You get this a decent amount. It's like your ruler dies and you have 2 sons, and one son's gonna kind of bully you into doing this joint ruling government. But usually it just goes away after some time. It's actually a privilege that you can manually grant as well. And I probably should have, there's just no time in these videos for me to go over this stuff like that. But I probably should go, if I ever go over and look at what it actually does, we can talk about it. Now, this is one of the most broken mechanics in the game. You can royal marry somebody. For no particular reason, people will royal marry you. Like, why would Naples royal marry you, for example, right? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. The AI is too willing to royal marry you for some reason. My point being, though, I don't know why you can, like, I've had times where I'm Brandenburg and, like, England wants to royal marry me, or France, or Spain. It really doesn't matter. And they will marry their main ruler to you for some reason, and then you can get a union with them. It's, like, super, super broken. But anyhow, I hate the sorting here because really all I want to do here is know who, like, you can't sort by who's the queen. For lack of a better word. Thanks, Lemon Cake, for that expression. But you can't really sort about who's king. So you hover over the people and you're like, there's no way to sort it. So you kind of have to like go through and like, it's not ideal. Anyhow. So in this one, I'm like trying to be like, okay, I'm going to marry the Queen of Naples so that our child will be the heir of both thrones. And then I get free Naples because that sounds fine. But what happens is the joint, I think I don't show this in the video because again, time, but my brother basically bullies me. And is like, there's like an event that it's like, do you want to deal with super rebels or do you want to like step down so your brother leads? And so that's the option that I picked. So the union with Naples didn't pan out that way because my brother's a bully. So I did form a union there, and it's definitely not like a EU4 union, right? Like we were completely independent nations, and until I wouldn't really get any value until like 50 years from now when our heir was now leading both nations. So it's not something that like immediately has any value unless you are the leader of both, essentially. Like, because what's funny is that, so let's say that your child, your heir, becomes of age. You'll still be in a union. You're not just gonna own Naples straight away. You have to like go through these reforms, but you can't really go through the reforms until you have that condition. So I finally got my alliance with Bohemia, and that took a lot of improvisations and all that sort of thing. See, the Black Death starts. Now, the Black Death is an interesting thing to talk about, mostly because it's not. I think it's a bit weird that it's basically like the same everywhere. Like it's not historical. Think of it like this. Everyone will lose 40 to 50% of their population. So it doesn't really infect your strength versus your neighbors, if that makes sense. Cool. Like, so it doesn't really feel that impactful, I guess, in a way. Like, yeah, it hurts your economy, but it hurts everyone's economy. So it's kind of like a thing that it's like, it's very, very like in the game, it's not, I feel like maybe they should consider changing it to make it more historical. Cause I've heard that, for example, Poland didn't lose a lot of people to the Black Death compared to, say, France. But in the game, they're going to lose about the equal amount of people or percentage of their population. So it doesn't really feel that impactful, right? It's just kind of like, well, everyone dies. You're going to lose people. You can try to stop it, but you'll save like 5% or 10% if you do. One funny thing is that if you invest in RGOs for medicine, you can kind of like abuse that. When I say abuse, I don't mean like you're exploiting. It's kind of like, I mean like you're abusing these people that really want the medicine. you're jacking up the price of the medicine and you're like investing in producing a lot of medicine. It's kind of funny, but the only bad downside of it is that the value of that medicine will be only good in the short term. It'll be okay later, but in the short term, it's like giga valuable. I tried that. And I think I was making like 30 a month during the Black Death as Brandenburg. So Black Death spread, you get all these options. The way these work though is like if you want to, it's probably worth it to try to segregate the affected, like do everything you can. It'll probably save 10% of your population. But if you went to 5 speed and just ignored this, is it really going to affect the future of your campaign? Not really. Sure, you'll be down, let's say 100,000 more people than you would have otherwise, but go conquer a couple pieces of land and, you know, get some new population. It's just not really a big deal. You could literally just 5 speed and ignore the Black Death, and it's really not going to change your campaign that much, in my opinion. An interesting thing that I noticed throughout the campaigns is you don't want to piss off the clergy, because the clergy directly influence how fast you research stuff. Every other state is like whatever, but if you piss off the clergy, you're actually slowing down your research. So it's always one thing I keep in mind is like the clergy is more important than the rest in a sense. Yeah, I mentioned this in the campaign. You have to have a majority vote, and I see that I'm being voted for, which is really weird. Let me explain to you what's really weird about this. The AI will spam you with requests to vote for them as the emperor because it's something they can do with favors. So Bohemia will spam me to vote for him, but he won't even vote for himself, which is kind of ironic. So I'm like, okay, let's improve with electors just in case. Maybe I get lucky. Why not? I decide that I'm going to be a tryhard in the Black Death and like prevent people from dying. So I'm like, okay, sure. Black Death claimed that Black Death killed my leader. Then we got a coup because our legitimacy was really low. And I want to say my legitimacy was low because I wasn't paying for it earlier because I wanted to get into a new dynasty. The low legitimacy is like a backup plan. So if I don't get that event that I mentioned that's meantime to happen, then my backup plan is to get a civil war. And if they take over, then I'll get rid of the disaster that way. So it's just funny because I get a coup and I'm like, okay, what does that really do? Like nothing really. I'm like, so they killed my leader and now my son will have to rule. Okay, fine. But the Black Death is like, you can see that it's not that long. Like, I think it's like 6 years it affects you. And then you can turn off the control trade and things like that. But the only thing is that's unfortunate is that the AI will not open trade markets until the end of the Black Death. So like despite, let's say right now it's 1353 and nobody has died in 6 months. The AI will continue to not trade with you for the next 10 years despite that. They will wait a full 10 years from nobody being infected to be willing to open trade. Now I thought, would that happen realistically? I think people are way too greedy for that. There's no one stuck for a year. Let's open the trade. But in this game, you have to wait until literally the whole 10 years. I'm like, is that where it should be? Or am I overestimating people's greed? Now, this is a frustrating thing here. I want to change my culture, right? I can't tell if I can change my culture, if that makes sense. I'll show you what I mean. Because I have to accept the culture first. So if I go here and accept the culture, now sudden you can see here that I'm getting these negative malices because I'm 3.0 of 6 of 1 now. So that's not great, right? Like obviously like it's a huge malice that you don't want to do that. But I couldn't tell. I don't have the option to see if I could have changed my primary culture or not. And you'll see here it says the dominant upper class culture is Brandenburgish. I have no idea how to figure that out. I tried. It's not from lack of trying. I looked at my people. I could not tell you how or what influences this dominant class culture other than just like, I guess I needed to wait a little longer. I don't know. I couldn't find it at all, right? So you can see here, if I wanted to remove, it would cost 20 stability to remove. So I'm like, I already have negative 55 stability. I don't really want to do that. But unfortunately, I didn't know. Like, yeah, anyhow. So this event is interesting. You can make a lot of money, but I got to the point where I was just like, I'd rather just annex the guy. Like money's, you get later on in the game, like money's not really a factor. Like money's too easy in this game at the moment. So we start annexing him. That's fine. You just have to have 150 relations in this game. But I will say like improving relations is slower. So it kind of is equivalent. So now we got lucky. We came back. We can now change our primary culture. I guess whatever was holding us off before took a few months and now we're good to go. Our old culture is 11%. Now it will be 53%. So it's like massively different. So I don't even know why Brandenburg starts with a cursed culture like that. But I did want to shout out Ludi for sharing this with me. He's the one that actually showed me the whole, like, he kind of explained the mechanics of control and culture, which was really cool. I was asking about it in Discord and he actually jumped in with a call with me and I screen shared with me and he actually took some time to explain, and those type of things stick with you. I know that's not like important to people, but I'm like, that actually says something about his character, that he's willing to jump in to, a small content creator and take the time to walk him through like how to play Brandenburg, because he also played Brandenburg and he kind of just like got things better than me. I wanted to give him the shout out for that. But you notice here something crazy. I just want to show you the difference here. Now our culture is different. So the amount of levies we can raise is literally more than double. And that's after the Black Death has hit our population. So it's crazy powerful. It's like broken OP almost, like in a way, right? Before Ludi showed me this trick, I was just kind of playing the campaign with like way less levies. And that's what it was. I didn't know that like the meta would be like, oh, you gotta culture convert to this other culture and then accept it. Like, but it's such a big difference. It's kind of funny. So anyhow, we have way more levies than anyone. We're like, I feel like we're just freaking cracked at this point. We have way too many guys. Everyone else has like nothing, and I'm like, okay, I'm just a bully at this point. I can just run around and murder everybody. You can see I'm at war with like 7 different nations, and it's really no problem. You'll see like cases like this are like, this feels so good. This guy has no forts. So piecing him out is like a matter of months. I love that there's no capital fort. And then, you know, like the battles are pretty devastating. Like when you outnumber somebody, it seems like super, super impactful. But I would say in general, like, let's just be like straightforward. Like, I don't like this UI here as much as the EU4. I got used to it a bit, but I still couldn't tell you like who's co-belligerate or like just like information doesn't seem like the easiest to sort out. Like you have like your stability and your war exhaustion and your morale. If your morale is low, they'll peace out immediately. That seems to be like the indicator. Nothing else really matters. So you'll see sometimes the AI will attach to you. I don't know if there's a way to like tell your allies to do that. I couldn't figure anything out like that. Like in EU4, you could go to your subjects tab and be like, I want you to be supportive or something. I didn't, there might be something like that. I don't want to say there's not, but I didn't find it if there was. But yeah, the wars feel like pretty similar to EU4. You got to piece out everyone else first. I got randomly elected there and I was like, okay, cool. This will confuse you and it's probably not worth saying. Sometimes you can pass a parliament in the HRE that will give you like 2,000 gold, but I can never figure out what the conditions actually are. I know that's not like good information for you guys. I just wanted you to know that there is some condition that I can't figure out how to get it, that you'll get 2,000 gold from the HRE if they vote for it. There has to be like some special status. Again, I was very confused on how to get there, but like sometimes you got lucky and got a lot of money if you're the emperor. And it felt good. But again, I'm just looking at this map mode here. This is a really important map mode because areas are everything. Like if you're integrating land, you're integrating in an area. If you're increasing control, it's in an area. If you're, you know, changing culture, it's always in an area. So I think in EU4, you want to conquer areas, like more so than you want just provinces. Like having the entire area is a lot more impactful. So we annex our boy here. Same type of thing. Like you don't lose diplo rep though in this game, but you can see that every neighbor I lose opinion with. So it's not like a global HRE buff like it would be in EU4. It's kind of just like the neighbors get a little mad and your other subjects get mad if you have them. Now, I'm looking at embracing this institution, but you can see it's 57 stability. Again, stability is like mana. It's everywhere. But I'm like, okay, I want this because I want to start researching some stuff in the last age. Specifically, I'm like, okay, because this is locked in the last age. So I'm like, I want efficiency of our cabinet. I mentioned how important our cabinet is. And so I'm like, okay, that's the most important thing. But it's also like some trade efficiency. And I'd like that. But really, it's just that cabinet thing and a couple other things. But now I'm just like, okay, wars are freaking easy at this point because I have so many levies. You can see my control here is crazy. So I basically have 100 control in like all, in my capital region. And it's going to go up too. And again, I'm using my guys in my capital region. I think I switch here. You can see I'm switching this because I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I think that I have a lot of percent culture here. Like you can see, and like one little cheese, like let me show you this map to give you some kind of like, we'll call it somewhat cheesy. When you conquer a new land, you have their control, right? Like over here, you see like this is land I had for a while and its control is terrible because, you know, it goes down. And this control is super high because I just conquered it, but it's going to go down. So what you can do is immediately send your advisor to start culture converting because again, you have that really high level of control for a while. So it's like it's really weird, right? It's like you can like get a lot of culture converted while you have that high control. And you're going to have that high control for a minute because you inherit the control of the provinces as they were. So you can see here that we're still increasing control in our capital because that's producing us so many levies. We're starting to just, you see I have 10,000 levies now. That escalated fast, right? Just a little ago, I had 5. Like it started off like holy, like the Black Death's not even over yet. And I have more than quadruple the amount of guys. That's why I have to give a shout out to Ludi because this strategy is crazy. Like it was such a difference playing this way than playing the original way. It was like, oh my God. Like before I was getting carried by Bohemia. Now I don't need to carry, right? Like I'm him. So the Black Death officially ends and yeah, we'll start making more money because trade opens up. At least that's how I think it works. But yeah, these wars are like really easy. I have way too many guys. Like levies, I mean. And I think levies have to do with your culture. Don't quote me, but it has to do with control for sure, though. So since my control and my control is so good at my capital and my culture is so good that it just kind of goes crazy. But these wars are kind of just easy now. It's kind of like I have way more guys than I have any right to have, I feel like. And we're just dominating. And we can call them Bohemia there. That's fine. And yeah, we're kind of just going through. I kind of show these menus here, but these things are awesome. I love these. These are like one of my favorite features of the game. Carpet Siege, it works super effectively. You can tell them to defend a specific province. Just focus on auto sieging. Your job is just to hunt down armies. Really nice stuff here. One of my favorite features of EU5. So I'm just like, okay, set some focus siege up and you can select all the provinces I need it. You can just right click and it selects all in that menu. But we love that. So we're just kind of like, okay, focus siege. Sieges take forever. You can assault, but I mean, it's just like assaulting in the EU4. It's just going to be a lot of loss of lives. You can see that I moved the control because I want to start culture converting this other area. So I need high control, as I mentioned, right? Now I've kind of switched gears. So now I'm thinking I still want to have a lot of levies, right? Because this is awesome. But I need to build roads to keep my control at a high level because without the advisor there, the control of my capital is going to start falling. So the advisor actively increases your max control as well as your monthly control. But you can only use one advisor to do control at a time, regardless of if I had 4 or what. It doesn't matter how many you have. So that's basically my thought process here. I'm like, okay, well, I am going to lose control of my capital, so I better build roads. You can see here, even now, it hasn't been that long. These used to be at 100, and they're at 90. So you can see how impactful having my advisor there is. Now I can't get access here and I'm like, oh, that sucks, right? I literally just kind of have to accept that. But again, I can take a lot of land here. That's fine. One thing I mentioned is I don't like in this game that you can pick more provinces than the war score is. So this is one of my pet peeves though. It's kind of like, I don't want to select provinces above the war score. And what will happen is that let's say that I'm at 93 war score now. Well, if I click a province, it's going to click the entire state. And then one by one, I have to deselect these provinces. I don't have time to show that in the video, of course, but it's just like one of those things that's kind of like, is it a big deal? No. Is it like a little inconvenient? Yes. This is funny because I get imperial requests. I get 40 prestige for taking this is crazy. I get 10 prestige per province. And prestige is a lot harder to come by in EU5, at least in the early game. So I just get spammed with like 4 of these events. And I'm like, okay, that's correct. I'm looking at Prussia. You can see there. I just need more provinces and get there. There's no requirements like religion, which is interesting, right? But I think here is like the meta. I'm gonna like what I'm doing here, I think is like actually gonna be the meta. Maybe I'm wrong, right? I'm predicting the meta in a pre-release game, but you basically go for this institution so you can get the extra cabinet member, and then you immediately go into the military. So you're only doing these first 3, and then you're just gonna go straight for the professional armies. So you can see here, I'm like, okay, I'm going there. I'm queuing up the manpower building, the armory. You can build a surgeon tree at the start of the game that gives manpower. You can only build it in a level 3 city, and that costs like 1,200 gold or something to do. You don't have any as Brandenburg, and there's not really any to conquer nearby. It can also only be used in your capital, so you can only build 1 until you have these armories. So basically, if you want a standing army, you rush in that. Now here's our reforms ourselves. So these are like crown reforms. So again, I'm picking this admin efficiency one because, admin efficiency is correct. At least I think it is. I could be completely wrong, but I think that it gives you like cabinet speed too. So again, this whole and I think now you can see I'm skipping ahead, but I have 3 cabinet members now. So that's why I kind of want to just rush into that because now I can have, like another guy that's going to help me convert culture. Basically, this is funny. I don't even know why this is a thing. Like you call a parliament, and if you pick anywhere but your capital, you'll move towards decentralization versus centralization. But centralization is just better, like objectively in every way, I feel like. So it's like you wouldn't actually ever want to pick not Berlin. So anyhow, random rant. But hey, we got to prepare for war. I mentioned in that video, I don't like this. It's basically, just let me fabricate a claim, make me happy. Like honestly, if it was the same time frame, I wouldn't even care. Like if it took 5 years to get a claim, I really don't care that it takes a while to get a claim. I just the process of doing it seems really weird. It feels wrong to me to not fabricate a claim in the EU4. That's all I can say. But anyways, these wars are super, super easy. So I'm getting towards that armory, but I have a ton of levies. Yeah, I'm just better. It's not a hard war at all. It's just super, super time consuming because of the way the forts are in the game right now. That's getting changed. But basically, I'm like, okay, this is taking so long. I guess I'll split up and siege. I noticed that the Teutons are in another war because I'm like, where is he? Okay, and then he shows up. It's like easy win. He shows up with way too not enough guys. I think he lost this other war and he was forced to release these nations as well. So I'm like, okay, cool, easy war. Like full on, we took the max we could in the war, and then we're just kind of like we're trying to get handgunners now. These are like the new tech, but we're trying to build armories. You can see that in that menu there if I go there. And I just want to pause there for a sec. You can see I can only build this in a level 2 city. So right now, this just happens to be a level 2 city that I conquered, and then this is Berlin. But I'm going to need to invest some money into upbringing some rural settlements into cities. But that's something we definitely like do in this campaign. So basically, yeah. So that's kind of our next thought process. We're like, okay, I'm going to put these settlements into towns so I can build manpower buildings. I'm really focusing on I hate levies. I'll be real with you guys. I hate levies. I want real men. So I'm like pushing this fast. I've rushed my research. I'm like upgrading my towns, and you can see I'm starting to get a little manpower. But you know, it's gonna be a while because we need, you know, you just have to like build a lot of these armories. But you can build more than one armory in a province, and I don't know what influences how many you can build. I'm sure it has something to do with like population or like, but sometimes you can build more buildings in one province than another, depending on factors that I don't know. I'll be honest. I just kind of accept that certain provinces could build more than others, and that's fine. But obviously, these are free wars. I talked about that in the video. Nothing really to see that's interesting here. Again, I do feel like antagonism just like isn't that impactful, especially over here. I'm just like, because I looked at co-belligerate rating and it was like, oh, I don't want to fight the Teutons yet because I don't want to break that truce. So I'm kind of just like, okay, just take things non-co-belligerated. It seems like more easy to do that in this game than EU4. Like it matters less. You don't get as much AE. That was a random event from the church. I mean, I could like go over that. I really don't like know exactly like when you get elected emperor, you like are forced to join this union, and I think it has something to do. Like, let's see, probably another creator has covered it better than me, but to me, it's like I'm playing the emperor like I would, like I don't care about it. Like I want the bonuses from the being the emperor, but I don't want to pass reforms. I just don't care. And this is kind of one of those things. It's kind of like, oh, this is H3 stuff that I don't care about at the end of the day. But, you know, like if you want to look into it, I'm sure other creators have covered it. But we start to build real units. That feels great. That just feels, you know, what can you, yeah, you're on the right path. Real units, standing army. We can drill though. And I don't really know if drill gives you combat experience, and I can't really tell you exactly what that, well, it says that it's a percentage slider that makes them take less damage, but I don't know if there's like I don't think there's like a professionalism that you're gaining or anything like that. And then the upgrade army thing is really like, I think it's a little bit broken. I even tried to report this as a bug, but I think they misunderstood when I did. But like, so for example, this is taking away 429 manpower to put the new units in, right? Because the upgraded unit is stacks of 200, even though your current units are stack of 100. If you have 0 manpower, it will still go and recruit them up. Despite that you don't have the manpower, it will you know, pop those guys into existence. So it's kind of a funny thing. If you upgrade, like let's say you had 2,000 guys and 0 manpower and you upgraded them, well, you're going to have 4,000 guys, regardless of what your manpower actually is. But sometimes I feel like it's a trap because you don't realize that you're going to double your, like you don't realize you're using, like I wish the game would be like, oh, by the way, this is going to cost you 1,000 manpower. Maybe you want to think about it. You know, like that's a lot of manpower for early game. Again, we're kind of just bowling. Like these wars are all super, super free. We're not really struck with any resistance, and we're not really getting in any AE as well. So it's kind of, I don't know. In a way, I feel like the AI is weak. Like we're just so strong without really trying. And then we started assaulting because we can. And then we're like, this one's kind of annoying because it's like I can't get military access to deal with the Teuton's vassal, which is Livonia, because he doesn't like me. So I literally like can't get the war score. So I'm just like, I guess what do I do? Just sit here? What am I gonna do? I'm like, I'm just kind of at a loss. I'm like, what can I really do here? I don't have boats. That's just, I guess we just chill. You know, I guess I only need a couple provinces though. So I'm just like, okay, fine. I'll just take what I need to form Prussia and I can leave. I'm trying to build bailiffs so you can see. Maybe I should cover that. They give you control away from your capital though. I think I covered that. It's pretty straightforward. You get like 20 control, 25 control from them, but they don't work in your close provinces. So it's like, they're only useful away from your capital. But again, I kind of talked about that. Yeah, we're just going to take what we can get because I can't get the war score. It is what it is. We can form Prussia now, so just do that. This is interesting because if you're the emperor, you can become a kingdom. If not, the emperor will not pick this decision. If you want to be a kingdom, it's super important that you're the emperor. Otherwise, you'll just be stuck at whatever I think it's a duchy. Because a kingdom requires you to have 5 million of your population. So we're not even close to this, right? I don't even have 1 million. So a duchy costs 1 million population. If you want to upgrade a duchy, you have to have 1 million of your culture. That's one of the requirements. And then kingdom normally is 5 million. I don't even really know what emperor is. But anyhow, so it's like if you're not the emperor, you're not going to be a kingdom for a very long time. So it's pretty impactful. It's not that impactful to be a kingdom, but you know, like it's cool. It's cool to see your name as a kingdom, I guess. But you get more rival slots. That's like the only real difference of being a kingdom. It feels like maybe you have like a little bit more diplomat capacity, which is good. But yeah, you know, I was already not struggling with that, so it wouldn't really matter to me. So then I decided like, okay, let's build up my army more and more, right? Why not? I've got all these manpower buildings. I've invested instead of investing my money in my economy, I could be making a lot more money right now, just for some context. But I invested all my money into manpower buildings because I just want to have fun with it. Like, I think the best answer would probably be to work on your economy more first. It's just not necessary, I guess. Like, it's like I can still, like I'll just have fun with it. But I do think it would be like, it would make sense to build up your economy more first with your original money. if that makes sense. Like scale your economy a little bit first, then go and work on your army. The reason being is because I'm already dominating every war. There's not really a point for me to dominate more, but other than I just want to have fun with it. But I try to build these cannon makers because I'm like, oh, this will decrease the price of cannons. Surely, right? No. Nope. It had nothing to do with that. I think it's more of just like you produce something that people might want. So I decided to co-belligerate a bunch of people, and I'm pretty sure this breaks. Like, let me look here. I'm pretty sure this is broken. Like, I'm clearly declaring war on Stettin, right? Like 100%. I'm declaring war on Stettin. Notice this. I declare war on Stettin, but I'm at war with Lewenberg. Like, Lewenberg is the war leader. They're not like subjugated to each other. So this is where that weird glitch, I think, comes into play. Like, I don't even know why he's the war leader. But we're just absolutely annihilating the levies and like sieging, right? We raise our levies just to siege because it's like we can't be everywhere at once. Again, this isn't going to differ much from the video, so I don't really, like, there's not much to talk about here. It's just like levies are so weak compared to a real army. Like, rushing a real army seems pretty broken. Because if they don't have a real army, they are completely cooked. And, you know, I think that expanding here is just too easy, a little bit too fast. You know, it's 98 and I'm already Prussia. Like, that seems like a problem. But I'm not here to really argue that if it's a problem or not. It's just kind of insane. But yeah, this is weird. This is a glitch, clearly, right? Like, this is a war against Lewenberg. I did not declare war on Lewenberg. I co-belligerated Lewenberg. So I definitely glitched. There's not really much to be upset about that a glitch happened in early access, right? It is what it is. I think it's a little unrealistic that you would you would go into a battle and loot. Like, look at this. Like, isn't it a little ridiculous that against 2,800 men that I lose 0? Like, not even one. What happened? What happened? Not even a single casualty. How did they, like, what happened? Like, I feel like they should probably at least take like a couple of them with them. I get that they're professional soldiers versus levies, but like, there's no chance it would be 0. Right? Like that someone would accidentally kill somebody, you'd think. But this is kind of like and again, the levy spam is annoying. This over and over where I'm like, okay, I have to constantly do this. Like, I end up killing like 50,000 pops because it's just endless. Against a real army here, you see some real troops. I lose a little bit, but still, it's just, you know, it's crazy. But yeah, we're just getting spam with levies. And again, it's just same process. Levy spam, kill, levy spam, kill. And then you get spam with that random event that's like, do you want to show them mercy? Or like all the time, this event, I'm just like, leave me alone. But you can see I killed 20,000 and I lost less than 1,000. And unfortunately, like, no one really wants to leave the war. Like, until I siege their land directly, they're not going to want to leave. They're just like, yeah, it's fine. So again, just spamming these free wins and more of that event. I'm like, stop with that event. So the way assaulting works, can't say I love it. They do mention that they try to be redundant and stuff. Like, they want you to be able to click a button like in 3 different places. Like, but you'll see, for example, like we can order assault here or here. It's the same button. In general, I guess I don't know how I feel about ordering assaults. Basically, here's how I perceive it. There's a fort level and you have like 500 guys, right? And then if you have, so the lower the fort level, the lower or the easier it is to siege, right? So you're just going to click the button and then it's just like, you know, you're going to lose a lot of men, they're going to lose their morale, and you're going to have to do it again, right? Like, you didn't make it. You didn't have enough troops. There's not really much like explanation or anything like that, right? It's just, you're not good enough yet. So you have to like wait for your morale to come back and you just order assault again. I don't know. I guess I don't love it, but I guess it is what it is. But there's so many forts in my campaign because of that it became, you know. Let me tell you a little fun thing that will happen that I don't know if I really like. Sometimes you have the ability to take over a siege if you have more troops than the other person in the war. It's a good way to like steal land from your allies, I guess. Although I never had any issues with my allies trying to steal my land, actually. So I don't know, maybe they don't do that in this game. Fingers crossed. But what I'm trying to say is other nations can force your guys to assault and you will lose troops. So other nations can call an assault and all of a sudden you're just going to lose like 1,000 or more men because they were in charge of the siege that you were helping them in, and they decided that you were going to assault with them, more or less. I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of just a shock thing. You're like, really? They just assaulted there? That was kind of a waste of men. So this feels like such a classic feeling, what I did here, as far as like EU4. It's basically like, I assaulted too many times, and then I finally got to the point where I'm just losing because I'm wasting so many men assaulting. He's actually able to just beat me. Even though I have a standing army and he doesn't, he's got just levies. It's just, I have thrown all my men away. Which is kind of weird though, because I'm wondering, like, does it prioritize the real men first? Or like, how did that happen? Because, you know, right here we have a good bit of troops still. I think I'm combined with the levies though, so I don't know if it like how it quite works. We get attacked here, and I'm just like, okay, regiments fight. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to see like in this battle. It's kind of like, yeah, I don't even know like what's going on. And looking at the screen, it's like I can't even really tell. We lost. We had a lot more guys than them. We got cooked. You know, sometimes like this, you're like, what exactly is going on here? Where's the information in this screen? I guess just looking at this paused menu. What is going on here? It's funny how on the left, there's just like no flag either. There's no one here. On the right, there's like showing the 2 people that are in there. I'm like, why is that? I guess it's because it's redundant. I know this is combat experience that you gained, but it's kind of weird that a unit that gets completely wiped out still gains combat experience. I'm like, did the general make it out? Does the general get the combat experience? I don't know. Anyhow, I don't even know why I lose there, if I'm being honest. Maybe my morale was low from assaulting. I think that's probably what it was, but it's like, yeah, I'm sure. Okay, that's what it is. But even so, like I'm looking at this. Okay, they got half morale. We didn't even win the siege either, I think. But he does have a lot of guys, but I probably just can't tell from this recording why we lost. But yeah, it looks like I felt like it was really hard to determine when certain troops were levies or not. Like, for example, if 2 troops were stacked on each other, you couldn't like highlight over and get the information that you wanted. I also just find it like somewhat like in my normal way that I play the game, and what I mean by is like my normal zoom speed. I'm not very good at telling where the location capital is. And, you know, in general, like, you know, if you get the location capital, it sieges everything else so long as there's no fort. And the AI is perfect at this. They will go to your, like, they will waste no time. They will go straight for the provinces that are going to give control to everything. And I always feel like, for me, I'm, like, struggling to find those provinces, like, you know, at the current level of zoom. Like if you look at this, it's like, you could never tell. Like for example, like, okay, now that I'm zoomed in, I can see that star. But, hey, I was like, let's just look where I was zoomed in, like, 3 seconds ago. Like, there's no way to indicate that that's where that's like right here. What to me indicates that that's the province that's important. Even that zoomed in. There's no way for me to know. But you can see I'm zoomed in here. Now you can see this is a location capital. It's just like, for me, it's like kind of like, I just don't know the answers. Yeah, so you can definitely see here the game is cooked. This never happened to any of the other test runs though. So I think it was pretty rare bug that we ran into. But you can see my provinces are stuck occupied and I'm not in war. So yeah, that's why I called the run. I was like, I don't really want to continue this run anymore. I tried to reload the game because I was like, okay, I'll just reload the game. But yeah, we were cooked. And then we tried to unsiege it. That's not happening. Start and stop sieging over and over. Let's talk about something that's on a lot of people's mind, and that's the UI. I want to go through and just give my honest opinion on certain things. And a lot of it will be negative, and it is what it is, I guess. But okay, starting here, whenever I'm selecting my army, you can see it's a good portion of my screen is blocked. And I can minimize this outliner, but I kind of like the information, but I'm not going to give them like negative points for that. Like if I want, yeah, sure, I can minimize the outliner, but my main complaint is that this menu is too big. I don't know how it is. Like I'd have to like look at the EU4 and see how they, you know, how you look at armies, but I'm pretty sure we're not covering, you know, a fourth or more of our screen whenever we selected an army, right? And you know, same with the siege menu. It's just like it's pretty large amount of your screen. I'm not saying that the information is bad or anything like that. It's just I don't know. For me, like it's something I noticed. I'm like, I feel like I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. Like my vision's just blocked. I don't know. There's another better word for it. I haven't really played with cannons too much, but I'm not even sure if you can like breach. I think you can get a breach, but I don't know if you can like order barrage or anything like that. But that's something to think about for like maybe you can. This button's probably for that. Maybe I don't know. This also has a little bit of an issue. I guess I'm not gonna give him too much for this, but this event is like constantly triggered. You like either can pay to have a couple of troops as mercs, you can put them in prison, but it's really weird when you take them because they actually look like your units. Like they look like your units when they walk back to your capital and are in prison. It's very weird. You like control them and they have like different interactions on the menu. But there's a lot of things. There's a couple things on my mind that I want to go through. I mean, this part of the video is just me kind of like discussing things, anyways, or the end part. So, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk through some things that are on my mind, I suppose. And I kind of went through in the video and talked about that. You know, it's kind of redundant to go through that. But so this is going to be like a really niche complaint. When you automate certain things, there's not enough options within that automation. For example, if I want to automate my diplomats, I can't use my diplomats to do anything. Like for example, if I automate my diplomats and I want to fabricate a claim, it will pull off that diplomat instantaneously when I try to send it out. Like for this case, let's say I want to automate my cabinet. But the thing is, like, and the part of the cabinet that I want to automate is picking these new advisors. Basically, these guys die every so often. You just have to assign new ones over and over, right? Or let's say, for example, I'm increasing control and that finishes and I just want it to automatically pick the next one. There's no customization of the automation. It's like Either it does everything for you or it does nothing for you. Where it's kind of like, I don't really want it to, like, I want to be able to pick things, but I don't really want the tedious task of making sure someone's in control. And one problem I have with this menu is that you don't know if the guy is dead. Like, for example, you can see this menu here. There's no indication that the advisor needs to be replaced, right? Like, maybe it's a pop-up up here, but there's so many other pop-ups that I'm probably not even paying attention. But like when it's expanded, I'll try to go over here. You can see that there is there's a person there. But again, when it's consolidated, you easily can go years without even knowing that. But I think it'd be cool if there was some specific automation where it's like, okay, and like really, it's not intuitive when you're picking these advisors. It pulls up a list and it basically tells you the best one to pick. It's like, I don't even know why you even do it. Like, let me see if I can show an example. Like here, for example, though, you can see I don't have an advisor in control. I don't know if I pick one. Right now I'm just talking about it, but basically each different action has a focus. It's like, military is best or admin's best or whatever, right? Like think of it like the 3 manas from EU4. It's just going to be better. Like you just simply, like there's not really a choice of you're gonna pick an advisor and you're gonna pick the top one on the list every time because there's nothing else that's like a factor. So I don't really even know why it's something that you like interact with that much, if that makes sense. Like you'd see here, maybe there's traits, maybe the traits do something. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention. I can see that they do have some sort of traits, so maybe that's a factor. But to me, what I'm doing is saying, okay, we're increasing control. So it's automatically sorting this by what we want, if that makes sense. Because like if you notice this, it's just sorting this by admin skill. So I've never had a situation myself where I just don't pick the top option every time. So it's kind of one of those things that's like, I would like that automation in, but I don't necessarily want the entire thing automated. Like I want to be able to pick what I do with my cabinet, but this is a tedious task that I don't want to do. Like, and again, I'm being nitpicky here, but that's kind of the point. Minting will change throughout time. And I think they should just add like an automated slider. Like I'm automating my taxes here because I'm just like, okay, I just want them to push towards 50% so they're happy. And then the rest is fine. This stuff is great. Like where this feels like it's automated, but it's automated and it's customizable. Like they're not going to automate my entire economy. They're just I'm just asking for automation where I want it. That's the type of automation that I feel like is like that is great. I don't like a lot of the automation you see in the game though is just like a automate building, like, and then it's just like, like it's just going to randomly build buildings that you probably don't even, it's a little bit too controlling. Now I'm going to get into like an opinion part. And these are kind of fundamental game mechanics. And I it's funny because I say these things and I know that I'll hate these things, but I think they should be in the game. Now, and these are things that like it's not like this is a glitch. It's just like, okay, here's something that I was thinking about. I hate to say it, but overextension should exist. You shouldn't be able to just take land endlessly without coring it. I'm like, I know I hate that that's real, but that's real. I really do feel like the problem right now is that there's nothing to slow you down from conquering. You don't even have to core things. You barely get rebels. Honestly, you don't. And the rebels you get are a joke to deal with because it's like they have levies and you have professional armies. So I hate to say it, but it's like people, before I played the game, people were always talking about how it's going to be so slow and anti-blob. And I would honestly say it's the opposite of that. Like you don't have anything except coalitions to slow you down from conquest. I know that advocating for overextension is, it's kind of like I hate it, but I have to have things that keep me in check. Unfortunately, overextension is a huge issue, right? Like there's no like think about like things like governing capacity in EU4. There's no governing capacity. There's nothing because that's another constant barrier. There's just no barriers for my conquest. There's nothing. Like, sure, I might not get a ton of value out of the different land, but like, I don't think that I care about that. That really, the value is that I'm eliminating somebody else that was competing with me. And this is a fundamental mechanic that they like it. As far as I understand, this is working as designed. So I think there needs to be a completely different system added to slow down your conquest. Like I hate to say that as a blobber, and I hate to be advocating like as a blobber, but like the reality is that yeah, I really do feel like we're left unchecked. Honestly, I thought about doing a world conquest for my first video. Just for anyone that thought that it's like hard to world conquest, it's like I think it's easier than ever. Rebels are inexistent, overextension's inexistent. Coalitions are actually easy. Like I don't think you get a penalty for conquering the H3 like you do in EU4. Just a little bit of a nitpicking, I know. Or it's early access too, I get that. But these are fundamental systems. Like this isn't like a glitch. It's like there is nothing to slow down conquest. I think that antagonism is actually in my experience, also, I mentioned this before, but truces are shorter. Literally. I'm not like making that up. It's like truces are 10 years versus 15 that they are in EU4 for a max peace deal. So again, that's another way that we're actually less limited than EU4. We can conquer faster because we can go to war more often. That, and we don't even have to be connected to the nation to conquer, right? Like I don't have to, I can take, if I wanted to go attack someone way over here and take his land, I can do that. The Parliament will give me a claim for it. Parliament will give me a claim for any nation in the game. I don't even have to border them. So claims are even easier in this game. If I wanted to go attack, and I can take that land. It's not like I'm restricted. Like, so basically think of it, what I'm saying is so many of these restrictions are taking away from you, right? Like you're way too free to take whatever land you want. And you're not going to have like a mass revolt or anything like that. But that's just my thoughts anyways. Again, why I'm being critical about overextension and stuff is because it's not a mechanic that is in the game right now. It's not like how do I explain it? It's like, you could say the AI is weak right now and they could fix that, right? That's fine. The overextension not being in the game is a mechanic that's not in the game, right? Like nothing slows down our conquest. And the reality is we're starting 100 years earlier. I mean, I'm not even doing that particularly well in this campaign. But imagine that you loaded into EU4, except I still have 50 years to conquer, and you had this much already. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, think about if I had another 40 years. By the time 1444 hits, like I'm probably bored of my game. Like if I'm being real with you, I'm probably like so strong that I have no competition. I want this game to be fun in every age. How do I explain this in a way that makes sense? I need the game to limit me. I don't want to have to limit myself. I will if I have to, but it's not what I like. I want to push the limits of the game, right? But this is something they haven't really even talked about. I've been in their channel, and I'm honestly, it's something that hasn't been brought up a lot. But so when I first started playing, I thought you had to integrate. I spent every minute trying to integrate, and I did nothing else with my cabinet members because there was always more to integrate. But then I realized you don't even need to integrate. I thought it would be like bad rebels, nothing like that. Like you can see here, I haven't integrated anything this entire campaign, literally. And you can see the progress here of the rebels. It's like 0.18 a month. It's minuscule. Maybe Prussian Patriots 0.36 a month. And sure, that's fine. But even so, when they do pop up, it's an extremely, easy thing to deal with. But okay, I know I'm being a little bit negative about that, but I mean, these are just kind of things like I want them to address these things because I like challenge. And the thing is, I get that I'm not the average player, right? I do this for a living. I play way too much, and I have very min-max mindset too. So I get that, not everyone's going to expand the rate that I do, but there just needs to be something to slow us down. There's nothing in the works, as far as I know, to slow us down. I'm in a part of the world where AE is a huge factor. But let's say I was playing like way over to the right where like, what if I'm playing a big nation that is kind of like, they can't really coalition you, because that happens in EU4, like on the right side of the map. Anyways, I guess like as an overarching statement, I expected conquest to be slower and more limiting, and it feels the opposite. Like imagine you're playing EU4 and you have the revolution's age in 1337. You have the ability to core land regardless of coring distance. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like you start the game with that as everyone. Like unrestricted conquest. Isn't that what it's called? And maybe it might even be called that. Maybe it's called unrestricted conquest. I probably should look it up so I'm not just making stuff up. But yeah, it is that. It is called that. So I did look it up. It's called unrestricted conquest. So in EU4, you get unrestricted conquest in 1337. You get that in 1710 plus in EU4. So to me, that just seems like, really? We're just going to give you guys that to start the game? So check this out. We call Parliament for a claim. Right, and we go prepare for war. If you notice here, I can literally get a claim with anyone in the world that I'm in range of. Like, look at this list. Like, literally, and not only can I get a claim on anyone I want, but I can also take the land of anyone I want. Is that a problem? I think that's a problem. I'll just straight up tell you. Think about EU4. Like, we have to be bordered to people to get a claim, and we can't even take land if we don't connect. So that's a problem. Sure, yeah, there's war exhaustion too, but it's kind of like, honestly, I think war exhaustion, the only thing that it did was impactful is that it lowers your army and navy morale. So I guess what I'm saying is like, is this what we want? I get that historically there's some unconnected land scenarios. That's not really my point. But my point is, like, let's say you're playing EU4, you're playing Brandenburg, and your neighbors are really tough wars, so you're kind of restricted. You're not really able to make much progress because you can't find the right war to do. Well, I guarantee you, if you can go to any war that you want, you will find a war that's easy every single time. It's not going to be hard to expand. You're just going to keep looking until you find the right war. It's just a matter of time. There's like 300 members in the HRE these days, right? Like, you'll find a war that's easy every single time. You'll be able to expand for free every single time because you don't even need to connect to the land. Sure, maybe the land isn't as valuable. That's fine, right? Like, you build some bailiffs that you only get 25% autonomy or whatever the case may be. But you guys can see the issue that I'm pointing out, right? Is that you have way too much freedom with no consequences when it comes to expansion. Now, does this feel fun the first time? Maybe the first 2 times? Yeah, it feels great. But then you realize that it's like so easy that you're like, okay, it's kind of just like I don't know what else I can say about that. I don't know what the other content creators are saying, but I just want to make sure that we're having devil's advocate here, right? I hope some creators are giving some negative feedback too, because I know everyone's going to want to be like, hype EU5, but I just want to make sure that we're being realistic about this too. I actually thought about forming Germany in my video before, because I'm sure you could do that before 1437, 100%. By the way, just saying, I didn't do it. I didn't want my video to be like, here's how I'm going to abuse broken things. But the reality is that it's probably not good for gameplay to form Germany before 1444, right? In fact, it shouldn't even be something that you could consider. I want to make sure that people aren't afraid of giving criticism. Because the reality is like, these devs are awesome people. And it was like such a pleasure to be flown out. Like, I don't want creators though to feel like they can't be critical or they're not going to get invited next time or something like that, right? That's scary. I hope that isn't the way people feel, like, but it does suck to be like, you meet these people in real life and they're really nice people and now you're going to try to rip them apart. Like, it kind of feels bad, right? I will tell you guys, forming Prussia felt so flat. Like, oh, you get to be a kingdom, 20 prestige. That's it? No national ideas, no like unique event, no Space Marines, nothing? Are you kidding me? I hate the start date. I said it. I want the game to start in 1444. I hate the early game. I'm being a little ridiculous here, like by intent. But